this is definitely like the all-star season that I was waiting for. In a weird way, I'm sad, and I'm not sad that Eureka is gone.
I'm indifferent on Eureka. I know people either love her or hate her. I'm just like so focused on Ginger and Raja and TKB right now. Not that I want TKB to win. That's a whole other story. But I'm so focused on those that I was like, huh? Ginger got eliminated? What? So I totally just like zeroed out on that. But I feel like this season it's been really good for All Stars for not having girls that, are like serious threats. They're, like Serena Chacha, come on. Don't give me that. Yeah. It's just like, but they're putting on a really good season. Like I'm really excited for this Jolie. Let's
The internet.
Probably me. It's me. Hold on.
Oh,
it's gonna be one of those days, isn't it? Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, sorry. Are you there?
Yes.
I'm standing in my closet.
Is that where the Wi-Fi is?
That's the best signal I can get.
No!
It's okay.
That's fine. It's fine. I love Kylie. We haven't mentioned her, but I love Kylie, but she doesn't register for me.
I agree. She's not going far.
No, I'm surprised.
She's just like Runway. Yeah, she's just very editorial. I'm like, I don't need that. I need you to be like a good drag queen, and she's just not giving me all the levels.
No, she's really not. She's a fucking dynamite performer, but it's just not like the level of comedy is not what I was expecting. Like it's not like all there. It's yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best, but it's not the worst.
She should be next to go home though.
Yeah, she absolutely. I'm surprised she didn't go home before Eureka.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I
Yeah.
don't think Kylie is as good as Eureka. So yeah,
Yep.
that's where we stand on those.
Okay, well, hello and welcome to a very especially strange episode of the Full Volume Podcast. We're back together. Yeah.
It's been literally weeks.
I'm your co-host, GI Jolie, and as always, I'm joined.
Harvey Brent.
But I forgot to say the word "bye." Oh my god! Like that's how especially weird things are. One, we're shooting in the middle of the night. Two, well, not the middle of the night, like the middle of the evening. Two, Brent's hair is growing out in like an NSYNC kind of way.
I know. I need to get it redone. Like it's very beach blonde up top. Oh. Serving you surfer realness, but it needs to be redone.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's like Sweet Valley High, circa 1998. We'll go with that. Yeah, because not all those girls in NSYNC had the greatest of hair. No. And I was going to make comparisons to the Backstreet Boys, but even they had mushroom cuts. Nick Carter, we're looking at you specifically.
Bonjour, monsieur. Yeah.
So on today's episode, we will be discussing Marvel Studios Disney Plus series, What If, Episode 2, What If T'Challa was a Star-Lord?
Yes. That's the question. That's what we're gonna ask.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe this is premature, but I'm going to preface that question or the discussion of that question with, is it a question that needed to be asked?
I don't know how necessary any of these what ifs are, to be honest, but there was a couple aspects of it that I thought was interesting and like totally undercut the entire MCU coming before it, like just convincing Thanos on a whim to like not grab the Power Stone and eliminate half the universe. So that was cute.
Yeah.
So little moments of the butterfly effect, but again, I don't know how necessary these are, but it makes sense now. I'm sure you and Josh talked about this last week, but it makes sense to have this come after Loki, because what did Loki do? It split the timeline completely. So in a way, it's kind of giving us some situational examples of how the timeline could split, you know? So in that way, it's
Yeah.
kind of a nice appetizer.
Yeah, so for anyone who's wondering, or if anyone out there who just listens to us speak about these shows without watching the shows themselves, we'll like gloss over the plot really briefly. So T'Challa, or Black Panther as we know him, um, it- this what if is based around what if he was taken and given to Yondu as a child and not Peter Quill. And then the story takes off from there. He becomes a Ravager with Yondu, and they do like space crime, as we are accustomed to seeing Peter Quill do in Guardians of the Galaxy. Did they introduce that? Was Guardians of the Galaxy the first movie, right? They were like
Where he was
this,
a Ravager?
yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
Well, that's number one.
Yes. Okay, great. And they did that thing they did in the Captain Carter episode where they did like sort of a shot for shot, which Josh and I discussed, a shot for shot retelling, but with T'Challa as Star-Lord instead, up until a point. But they didn't do that thing where they say, "Oh, this is the point where a decision was made that changed the course of forever." It was just that they kidnapped T'Challa as a child from Wakanda and gave him to Yondu, and Yondu told them he was the incorrect child, but was like, "I can work with this."
Yeah. And then it picks up like 20 years into the future on, I forget which planet. It wasn't Morag. And
Mm-mm.
we have Yondu and T'Challa, ravaging, and then, bringing their Ravagers over to Contraxia?
I think
Con-
so.
Contraxia? Yeah. And there they meet. There's some fun cameos from Drax the Destroyer. We get Thanos introduced as a contemplative. Is he going to be a villain? Is he going to be a hero? Turns out he's kind of a hero. And then we also meet Nebula as well. So that's kind of what moves the plot along. And then Nebula suggests that they go on one big heist. And the heist is taking, it's the embers of, oh gosh, what is it?
I
Google.
honestly, I had such a rough time keeping up. Whenever the story goes into like heist territory, it's like my mind slows
Yeah.
down and it doesn't remember details very well. So let's just pull this episode up.
Embers of Genesis.
Okay. Okay. Embers of
Mm-hmm.
Genesis. Okay. Great. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to continue with the plot.
Oh, sorry. Oh, my goodness. I was trying to be polite and wait for my turn. So
Still,
so the Nebula convinces them to the Embers of Genesis from the Collector, which he goes by a different name this time. What's the name he goes by? It was something weird, but it was Tivon, right?
yes,
Candelier
yes.
Tivon.
That's it. The
Yes,
Galactic
and so
Kingpin.
that's the one. Yes, Galactic Kingpin who knows and it's all corners of the galaxy and collects. So they have to with Thanos and the Ravagers and Nebula and T'Challa. They all get together, and it's great because they're doing like recon, and Nebula's like, yeah, the Black Order works for for the Collectors, so that's cue where cameos from Proxima Midnight, Kala Obsidian, although they don't call him that, they call him Black Dwarf, which is his comic book name.
Mm-hmm.
Horus and Ebony Maw. So those are his officers slash security enforcers. And yeah, from there they actually enact the heist. Doesn't go quite as well. Thanos is creating a distraction outside, and Proxima Midnight's a little wise to it and realizes that she's been distracted. And so they come back to the Collector's actual collection, and T'Challa gets captured. One part I kind of forgot to have missed, which is a fun cameo, is that T'Challa runs across Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. Played by Seth Green. And, Howard the Duck tries to find the embers, but T'Challa gets captured. And that kind of brings us to the climax of the episode. It basically says to T'Challa, yeah, I'm disappointed in you. I thought you were going to be more than just a human. We're just going to keep you on display. We're going to flay you, and so at that point, his slave helps free T'Challa. I think her name's Karina.
Yes.
I just think of like the Karina. And
okay.
I'm as far into the closet as I can be. Hello, 17-year-old Brent.
I was gonna say, I was like, which is bringing back memories, or you can actually see
I'm literally
physical 17-year-old self
fitting myself inside the closet. Yeah, where did I leave off?
Nebula fake heel turn.
Nebula fake heel turn. Yes, fake heel turn. She ends up helping Thanos fight off Proxima Midnight and Black Dwarf, and it culminates in T'Challa and I think it was Yondu. Was it Yondu? That helped put the Collector back into a cage, and then he released all the other of the Collector's collections, and that's it. And then we have a nice little stinger at the end where Peter Quill, back on Earth, is the manager of a Dairy Queen, and his father, the Celestial Ego, comes to visit him.
Yes. Amazing. Also, they bring Yondu has sort of like a change of heart where he's like, no, you should be able to like have a choice, and he brings him back to Wakanda. How sweet.
Oh, that's right. How can I forget? Yes. So yeah, that's the episode. That's my choppy ass recap in the closet.
I love it. So what we have traditionally been doing is going through like our favorite parts of the episode, maybe picking 3. If they overlap, we'll find another. But this one I'm having a hard time with. I only really have a couple things that I do have 3. I wonder if it overlaps.
I was gonna say you don't have to force it, but no, that's fine. No, if you have 3, that's good.
Yeah. Okay. So I will start with one. Is I love the appearance of Howard the Duck, because at the end of which movie was it that we saw him? Was it an Iron Man movie? Was it in Captain America?
I think it was the first Guardians.
Was it the first Guardians where we see him in the Collector's Collection? They never really go back to that, but we see it, and it's like, okay, and now I want it, and now I want a Howard the Duck movie.
I'm actually surprised that they just left him there. I really thought he would be more, come into at least like Endgame or something, but nope. Mm-hmm. No Howard the Duck. But it's nice that they brought him back for this. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably would have been something that stood out to me too. That would have been on my top 3, but I'll find another one.
Oh, okay. And then you go ahead with one of yours.
Well, I was going to say, in the actual climax of the episode, I really enjoyed how the Collector was using various weapons from different MCU characters. So he used like a sword from the Dark Elves made of dark matter, and he used Hela's helmet, goddess of the underworld. So that was pretty cool. That was a unique way to show some fighting in him, because you haven't really seen him fight in the films. Like he's always just like getting tormented by Thanos. That's
Yeah.
his really only role, is to be like destroyed.
Yeah.
So that was really cool for sure. I liked it, just the little nods, like you saw the Captain America shield there, and so yeah, like the little indirect cameos was really
Mhm.
cool.
Awesome. Let's see. My second one wasn't really a cameo, but it was like an appearance by a character that we are all familiar with, and that's Nebula. I'm a huge fan of the 11th Doctor and Amy Pond, so I really enjoy the character of Nebula because I'm a fan of the actress. And it was nice to see Nebula portrayed as, was it getting too dark in the closet? uh,
Yeah, it was.
nice
Familiar
to
feeling.
see her portrayed in like a more familial light up against Thanos, like respected and loved daughter, and not a tormented daughter,
Yeah.
abused. Yeah, it was. This is the kind of what if that I like, that I kind of wish the first episode was. It's like, this is what would happen. Maybe this is what would happen if these characters had different courses in life. Like everyone's course is phenomenally different. Hers ends up being like actually pretty good. She's still kind of bad, but and then what you were saying about Thanos, because Thanos is sort of a hero, um, it, it probably lends itself to his personality being that of a father who treats his children better.
Yeah. Well, the
Hmm.
one thing too that's really good about What If is the fact that, like, yeah, you get to see these characters in a different light, and like it lets the universe kind of treat them with justice when the movies maybe didn't have time to do that, because
Hmm.
those movies are always so stacked, right? Like Nebula arguably is actually quite important in the later Avengers films, but she's still like she just still doesn't get enough development. She's really a plot device. So it's nice to see her get a little bit of a background like that. You said that familial touch to her, I think, was a nice touch that we wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Hmm. So, what's your favorite, or your favorite number two?
Probably the appearance of the Black Order, because that's kind of falls in line with what you're saying. I mean, unfortunately, again, the Black Order have played henchmen. They're not fully blown, realized characters. But damn, if I like that, they are fun to watch. I like them in Avengers Infinity War. I like them in Endgame, and now I get to see them here again fighting, and it's pretty cool. So I would say just the appearance of the Black Order was nice, and having them fill a similar but different role.
Hmm. Awesome. And then so my final one. It took me a second to think about this one, and now I've lost it again. And it wasn't anything to do with Peter Quill, and it wasn't other. Do you know what? I really, really enjoyed hearing Chadwick Boseman's voice more than I thought that I
Yeah.
would. It made me a little bit sad, but it also made me happy. That he was able to do this before he passed away from our world, and they like it was I really loved how they dedicated the episode to him. um but yeah, it wasn't my total favorite thing. Obviously we knew it was coming, so let's see, dig deep. Oh, and you know what, I will replace my third favorite thing with like a thing that I kind of wished was different, was that Yondu was the exact same person he was in the films.
Yes, he was. That's a good point.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
kind of
Not
surprised
much.
that they. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was gonna say there wasn't much like deviation between how he was. He was still a Ravager. I guess he just reported, like, he still reported the celestial ego. Like, it did feel very familiar, which I don't know. I guess it's not like a bad thing, but yeah, it would have been interesting if they added a new layer to his character.
And maybe we'll get back to that later, but we'll go through and talk about your third if you have one, and then we'll go get back to that point because there is something interesting that other people have pointed out about the episodes so far that we should probably discuss. So,
Um, hmm. Okay, this one's maybe a bit abstract, but I think T'Challa as Star-Lord, and I understand that's the point of the episode, but he didn't give us the same kind of Star-Lord personality that Peter Quill would have given us. Um, he's not some arrogant, goofy, you know, straight white cis male. Like he didn't give me any of that energy.
yeah.
So he almost like approached the role of Star Lord as more. It was more responsible. It was more of a assertive leader. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like in this scene, when he was talking to Yondu and like talking about why they should go on this mission and whatnot. Like it seemed a bit less nonsensy than a Peter Quill Star Lord, and I respected that. I liked that it was different, and it fell in line with how you would expect T'Challa to be as Star Lord.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. There was something that I couldn't quite put my finger on about this episode that felt very refined in a way that Peter Quill is
Yeah,
not. He's just like kind of goofy, kind of bumbling, and that sort of personality and what it lends to the story was missing from
yeah.
this one. But I'm not sure whether I like it or I hate it. Okay, so the one thing, oh sorry, go ahead.
No, no. I was gonna say I agree with you. T'Challa wasn't an oaf this time. He was more sensible, and I liked that.
Hmm. Yes. So the one thing that sort of came up when I was sort of looking at how like the reception of the show was that people had a huge problem, especially in Captain Carter, because both myself and Josh, hello, Brent's plants, just quickly saw your plants, which tangent.
Oops. Oh,
Uh, if we do start a plant podcast, Josh is in.
oh yeah, we still need to do that because we had to give each other tours of our plants and point out what's wrong because there's things wrong with mine. So we need to do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the I would say I'm a plant amateur, so I'm not trying to be a pro. Or it would be mostly nonsense from my peanut gallery. But anyway, okay, tangent off. Just the thought is there. Um yeah. Now that the tangent is off, I can't. Oh, that's right. Okay, so the major qualm that people had was the fact that it was just like, especially Captain Carter, it was just a scene for scene rehash of Captain Carter in Captain America's shoes. Like it wasn't different enough. The course of her fate, even though she chose to stay while he was being shot up, it didn't they didn't alter it enough for it to be interesting, which I'm surprised about because I
Hmm.
really liked Captain Carter. It got me excited.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think that's a very good episode to lead on conceptually, though. I feel like just because if it's a shot, okay, like maybe on one end they thought like if it's a shot for shot remake, basically, but with Captain Carter, then like it'll get people familiar with the idea of what if, But at the same time, I feel like this episode is so much more different in the sense that it was like, excuse me, it was like the butterfly effect, Like, what if the wrong kid was abducted and all of a sudden, all these different choices play out? Like, to me, that seems more like the spirit of what if. Whereas the first episode, it's too derivative.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm still
I don't
excited
know.
about it.
That's
I agree about it
that's the tea
being
from
different.
me, though. I'm just saying.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, that was your quick recap. Ugh. That was your quick recap. Harvey Brent's sink is currently being fixed, and he
It
needs to
is.
return to that fixing. So we're gonna call it a
Why
short one
today?
this
I
week.
know.
No, it's okay. I really am happy we were able to get it together for like earlier than we usually film it during the week. So this episode is actually you're listening on Sunday, because that's when it drops. We're actually recording it Thursday night, which is a day after the release of the show, which is something we never do.
Who are we? Yeah, I know.
Right? We are Beauty, we are Grace.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Glamour Toad.
110%. So yeah, if you tell us what you thought about the second episode of What If, let us know if you're going to keep watching, if you're going to stay on the Marvel Disney Plus train. Josh said we're getting 9 episodes, which will take us into take us into October.
Sometime in October it looks
Sometime,
like,
yeah. And then we won't get Ms. Marvel until I think they're saying like November 11th.
There's a Hawkeye show in there too somewhere, isn't there?
Oh, sorry, you're right. I think Hawkeye comes first and then Ms. Marvel, which, I mean, I'm excited for both of those damn shows.
Oh, I was just like, yay, another espionage show with Hawkeye. Cool.
Oh, okay. I think I want to see after Transformers, that Bumblebee movie, I really liked Haley Steinfeld. Pitch Perfect didn't even do it for me. It was definitely that Bumblebee movie.
And you know what? After watching Black Widow, I'm like forgiving of the espionage genre within Marvel, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier took it out of me, but Black Widow entertained me. So let's hope Hawkeye goes the same way.
Fingers crossed. So if you want to send
Fingers
us mail, it's fullvolumepod at gmail.com. You can follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Comic Book Syndicate or at Comic Syndicate. That's on Twitter. Like us, follow us, ring bells, listen to this audio version of the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search Full Volume Podcast or the Comic Book Network. Until next time, I have been your co-host, GI Jolie.
And I've been Harvey Brent.
Keep it loud.
Keep it at full volume and full Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we'll try at least. Bye.
Bye.